We are still on level 3.3 notes, practice proofs with statements or reasons. And as we take a look at problem number 3 here, it says given the measure of angle GKI is equal to the measure of angle HKJ, we want to prove that the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 5. And the nice part is that this very first statement here is what we were given, so we're going to fill that in. And if you've been following through with the previous two notes, the first thing that we've got is that the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4, when we put those all together, gives us the measure of GKI. So that is the angle addition postulate. And it's going to be the same idea here for our next statement, which is that the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5 gives us this angle here, which is angle HKJ. Same reasoning. Angle addition postulate. So now what we can say is that the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equals the measure of angle HKJ because of substitution. So I should say, why is this substitution? Well, remember that we had originally with the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 is angle GKI. But GKI equals HKJ, so we substituted or replaced the measure of angle GKI with the measure of angle HKJ. And then the thing is, we're going to do the same thing on our next step, because the measure of angle HKJ can be replaced with the fact that the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5, which is exactly what happened there. We substituted there. And then when we subtract the measure of angle 4 from both sides, the measure of angle 4's cancel out, and we're left with the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 5, but we subtracted, and that is our subtraction property of equality. And as we finish here on our last proof on page 25, we're given the measure of angle JKL equals the measure of angle MNO, and the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. So let's just fill that in right now before we even look at whatever else we need. And now we're going to prove that the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 4. So as we look here at this first one, again, it seems to be following a pattern here on this page. We've got that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle JKL, and the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 is equal to the measure of angle MNO. So what we can say then, like the others, and I didn't leave enough space here, so I'll do my best, but angle addition postulate, I'll abbreviate there, angle add postulate, and then what we can say is that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle MNO. So remember, instead of writing measure of angle JKL, we replaced the measure of JKL with the measure of angle MNO. When we replace, we're using substitution. And we are doing the same thing here. So we know that the measure of angle MNO equals the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4. So we replaced the measure of angle MNO with the measure of angle 3 and the measure of angle 4. We replaced, so that's going to be the substitution property again. And then, instead of writing the measure of angle 3, we filled in the measure of angle 1. That's the only thing that's changed from step 4 to step 5, or statement 4 to statement 5. And what happens is that the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. So once again, we replaced measure of angle 1, or we replaced measure of angle 3 with the measure of angle 1. So we replaced, and that is the substitution. And then lastly here, what did we do? We subtracted the measure of angle 1 from both sides to leave us with the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4. And again, this is the subtraction property of equality.